How's your week been? Mine has been hard. For chronological narrative purposes, let's start this story in bed. However, you know this is not how my day started. It's almost logistically impossible to show you how I really wake up because I have a 7-month-old baby who is teething and aggressively attached to the nipple. So I have to carry him attached to me even to go to the toilet when I first wake up. And then my toddler runs into the bathroom to hug me good morning, all of which is more important than setting up a camera and not really YouTubeable moments. However, once I got the baby to sleep for his first morning nap and Gianfranco was fed and happily off in the garden picking vegetables with his father, I was able to show you my real morning and how I lift my spirits when the days get overwhelming. First of all, I listen to music in the shower. This seems just simple, but I tell you, put it up loud enough so that you can hear it over the water. Classical music, this orchestral epic masterpiece, or some 80s power ballad, or whatever you want, so that you can kind of be this protagonist in this film of your choosing. And it is the one time when you can't be doom scrolling, you're detached from your phone. If you have children, they can't be in there with you, hopefully. I don't know, maybe. But it is your time, just maybe even 6-7 minutes, having the water envelop you and you're hearing that music that helps with the escapism, I find. At least for me, it really has me stepping out of that shower and feeling invigorated and excited and imaginative. You know, music takes our mind places and gives us new ideas and new creativity. And so playing just a really epic piece while I'm having a shower is how I like to sometimes start my day. Then I put on something that is comfortable but heightens my awareness of my body. If you're a male, you might crave something that emboldens you, makes you stand up straight and proud. But for me, you guys know I come alive with femininity, and this skirt in fresh summer blue and white, comfortable but sensual as I walk or run through my day. I don't feel restrained, I don't get sweaty, I feel the soft, cool linen against my legs, the volume of the skirt, and it makes me so much happier than synthetic lycra leggings or just some easy, nondescript throw-on shorts. It's just as simple to wear this skirt, and I feel light, feminine, and gentle in how I enter each space throughout the day. Light and air. I open the windows, even in winter, even in summer, though in Italy the way to live through this heat wave is to keep the shutters closed all hours of daylight. But this is just the first thing I do just in the morning, and then I shut them later on when I go downstairs. Rid my personal space of clutter. I want to make sure that I'm waking up the next morning or going to bed that night and knowing that this intimate sanctuary is serene. Some days I can't do the whole house, but I can just tidy and clear bottles in my bathroom and pick up clothes draped over things in my bedroom. And I can fill this intimate space with flowers. I'll take this vase down and cut some fresh ones later, because flowers are like poetry injected directly into my soul. Even when I was living in Rome and Florence and other cities in the world and didn't have my own garden, I always budgeted money for flowers. Maybe for you it might be art or some sexy vintage armchair or something that when you wake up you see it and you think, ah, yes, beautiful. As many of you know, I have been off coffee for about 4 years, my first and my second pregnancy and the years breastfeeding both children. But I thought I needed a treat, and I allowed myself for the first time a little espresso, which was incredible. Thankfully, it didn't have an effect on Raffaello's sleep. Sometimes you'll be eating healthily or maybe staying away from alcohol or carbs or whatever it is you're trying to resist. And I think it's okay to give yourself a meal or a day or a weekend when you consume that thing that you love, but don't do it in a guilty, binging way. Make a dedicated time and savor it. Be mindful of just how fabulous it is. Make it memorable and free of guilt, telling yourself that you'll continue looking after your diet in the coming days. And on that note, if you're feeling tired and craving comfort food as your treat, I like to think, instead of grabbing something packaged or ordering fast food, for example, I make myself a plate of pasta, but I still make it fresh and nourishing using vegetables and herbs from the garden. So you're allowing yourself comfort, but not completely filling your body with rubbish that will make you feel even more fatigued. Is there an email on your computer or a text message on your phone that you have been putting off responding to? It could be business or work, it could be a friend with a bit of an awkward situation or family or something, and it might be making you feel uncomfortable, or it's just tedious, or you just think, I haven't got the bandwidth for that right now with everything else that's going on, but it's still there in your subconscious, kind of creating this low-level anxiety because it's procrastination. It's a task that kind of makes you feel like, oh gosh, I've got to respond to that thing. However, by deferring it, you're kind of creating that discomfort for yourself, and if you were to just approach it, address it, get it out, it would be maybe 10-20 minutes of your day, and then that is done and you feel so free afterwards. And perhaps you're not this person, apologies. Maybe you address every single issue, email as soon as it comes in, and your inbox is clean and free and everything. That is not me. I am someone who always wants to give a very thorough response, or make sure that I'm giving it 100%. And in thinking that way, I will defer it, procrastinate, and then it will just become a little bit of a mess. Whereas I should just think, okay, maybe I can only give this half of my brain, but at least it will be done and it'll be off, and it doesn't have to be perfect, and it doesn't have to be the most polite response. I think if you're a polite person too, sometimes you put off responding to people because you're not sure, you don't want to offend them, you want to sort of treat them gently, but this creates anxiety for you as the polite person. So that is what I try to do. Sometimes I just take stock, check, and think, are there some emails or some texts that if I just bang, 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 got them off, I would feel lighter. So that's what I'm going to do. Create. You may not even consider yourself a creative person, but we all have creativity within us. There are infinite opportunities to be creative in a day. It could be how you set a table, how you arrange food on a plate, a journal entry, how you pair a certain colored trousers with a certain shirt or scarf, how you tell a bedtime story to a child. There are choices in our day that demand preference of color and texture and cadence and composition. Even before this was my profession, I would always write or film or cook or express my response to the world around me. And sure, I'm a highly creative person, but you needn't be. The key ingredient here that nourishes our nervous system is play. Creativity encourages playfulness, and all children know how to be playful regardless of artistic skill. When I'm feeling overwhelmed, I take my camera or I take a notebook and pencil, and I immediately feel my whole body shift into a state of play. Okay, this is a hard one for many people, but singing is so good for us. It necessitates balanced breathing, it's joyful or at least soulful, even when done poorly. It's not calculated or strategic, it's almost involuntary when you hear music or there's a verse that gets in your head. I'm not espousing any kind of performance in company. Just do this alone by yourself. When was the last time you just sang out aloud on a walk or in your bathroom or while cooking? It releases so much tension. I'll put in a clip so you can hear how Gianfranco exemplifies this on one of our after-dinner walks. My sister was visiting and we would walk for an hour after eating, just singing as we wandered through the fields. Oftentimes I will find myself just solo parenting if Guido is in Florence and he can come back really late, even like midnight. So I will be doing all of the bath time and meals and breastfeeding and trying to do naps and all of that stuff by myself. And I have found that as much as I really love it, like I love being at home with my children and I love seeing them just grow and learn and interact with each other. But I am human and I definitely have times where I think, oh my gosh, just get out of the bath and just get into your pajamas and just sleep and just let's just move from this room to this room, or let's just move out of this phase into the next. And what I found, which stay with me, because if I had heard this, I would have rolled my eyes and said, oh my gosh, that's terrible advice. It's not going to help me. But I found if you actually flip it around and think, instead of trying to rush through this, try and make it as slow as you can. Let's try and make this the longest, most luxurious bath ever. This is going to be a really decadent, drawn out experience, and your child will pick up on the fact that you are not trying to rush them, and they will relax into it. They will not be trying to fight you. And shall we read one more story? Let's read 2, 3, 4 more stories. Let's go on. Let's do a big pantomime, let's do it all. And of course, this is within reason, because sometimes you have to go because the baby, for example, is crying and needs milk and you can't just ignore that. But within reason, sometimes trying to rush them through things is counterproductive. And I think if you actually slow down and just say, yeah, let's go even deeper into this story. I tell these stories to Gianfranco in the dark because we're lying in bed and I don't want to actually look at a book when I'm trying to get him to sleep, because then we have the light on. So I want him to be lying down with his eyes closed. That's the rule, that he can have a story but his eyes are closed and he's lying down. And then I tell this story and I'm painting this vivid picture of this scene and the tractors coming and these animals and they're all the different characters and everything. And then as I'm telling this story, I say, and then do you know what happened? They say, a combine harvester came along and said, can I join your trip, your adventure? And I can hear his little grin. I can hear him go, and he's so excited. And it's just such a lovely feeling to be enriching his day and his imagination and feel him relaxing into that activity together. He's not worried, he's not trying to negotiate with me, he's not trying to say like, oh, can we have one more, or can you not go, or can you do this, can you do that? He's just totally present, enjoying the story, and consequently he relaxes faster. His body goes all sort of loose and calm, and then he gets to sleep faster than he would have if I were to have been going on and saying, okay, that's it, no more stories, blah, blah, blah. Why are you talking? The same with Raffaello. He can't even speak. But if I'm trying to rush him off feeding, he's like clawing at me and he's feeling it. And whereas if I'm just like, you know what? I'm yours, take as long as you like, you can have as much milk as you like. Well, this doesn't work every time. I loathe when people prescribe these things for parenting and they're saying, oh, this will change your life. It won't change your life, but on one day when you're really tired, maybe this could help. I'm still a mother who can get impatient and can get weary, but trying to rush them doesn't help, and it doesn't create for a serene house. And that is my goal, to have a house that's serene, because children just absorb that energy of whatever it is. So that's something that I've been trialing lately, and it's been giving me some success. Your tendency is to want to shuffle them along to the next activity, but if you can master it, it's a different approach that can sometimes totally switch the mood. Thank you for watching. Thank you to my patrons. I hope this helped. Maybe if it did, maybe give this a little bit of a like, leave me a comment. Tell me what you do in your day that shifts your mood, or tell me which of these things you are already doing perhaps. And yeah, let's have a little chat about it in the comments. I will see you down there. As always, I read every single one. So thank you very much for taking the time to engage. See you next time. Alla prossima.